The last thing I'll say on wrestling is just that I was finally happy to see some new content on the network. Saturday night's main events are now up there.
Woo!
Now this news is new since our last podcast, but like almost old at this point. But all the 80s episodes are up there. There's only a few 90s episodes to my knowledge. All the 80s episodes are up there. It's very cool to have them.
Why is it cool?
Well,
the main event?
What's cool about the Saturday night's main event to people like
it was once a month on NBC on a
Pat
Saturday
and I
night.
was that it was the only time for two reasons. One, it's how you got to see mid-carders. Okay, in the late 90s, if you got into wrestling in the late 90s, you saw your mid-carders in your first hour of WCW or your first half hour of Raw. But the Saturday night main events would often push a lot of the mid-carders to a higher status. The other thing is if you grew up broke or your parents just weren't going to buy you pay-per-views, this was your only time to see a few pay-per-view caliber matches.
Yes.
And you definitely did get pay-per-view caliber matches out of these.
So you'd see like a tag team between Hogan and a partner against, say, King Kong Bundy and someone else, or Andre the Giant and someone else.
Yeah.
You'd see Ultimate Warrior taking on Rick Rude in a steel cage match. You know, stuff like that. That was like, holy shit. This could be on a pay-per-view.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was
would-
pay-per-view light. It was only an hour, right?
Yeah,
It was an
no,
hour
it was
or an
a-
hour and a half.
I think some of them are two, actually.
Actually? Okay.
Yeah, I think some
I know
of them
that
are two. I think most of them are somewhere between.
they used to come on before Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
I know that.
The other thing but yeah, it was pay-per-view light because a lot of these ended in DQ, a lot of the
Sure.
bigger matches, a lot of them ended in double count out or
Yes.
some sort of gimmicky finish that never settled the feud.
Not all of them,
proper.
but a
Not
lot
all of
did.
them, but still, it was a way when you were young growing up. You were like, shit, Saturday night main events on. I get to see the big guys.
I used to tape it because I wasn't allowed to stay up that late, when I'm that young. We used to tape it on VHS. It used to be on the MS. We actually would tape MSG house shows on the MSG. We had the MSG
MSG
network.
shows were different. Yeah.
Yes, that was totally different. They'll do those once a month too, but this was all over the U.S. But anyway, I would tape the house shows at MSG, but also my dad would tape the main event for me, and that was the best thing to get up that Sunday morning. And instead of watching Superstars on Saturday morning, instead of watching primetime wrestling or All American Wrestling, where it was mostly jobber matches, squash matches, where you see the upper mid-carder, you see Rick Rude bury someone, or Ultimate Warrior beat someone who was, a jobber, a local guy who wasn't a real wrestler in the Federation. You'd see really good matches. You get excited for it. You had great commentary usually with Vince and Ventura or Heenan on there. It was fabulous.
I just wanted to comment, because, it definitely wasn't every month. It wasn't every month. It was whenever they felt like it.
Whatever they want for the main event?
Whatever they wanted to for the Saturday night main events. Yeah,
I feel, though, there was probably 8 or 9 a year, though. It was often.
No, because they have all of them up there now, and I think there's probably 20 episodes between 85 and 90.
You sure? That's it? Okay.
But that,
I thought there was more.
That's still a pretty decent amount. That's like every 3 months.
Okay, that's not... Okay.
Yeah. So, they I don't know how many they were. Original run went to 92, and I'm trying to find...
Glad you're correcting me, because the one thing wrestling fans are notorious for is making sure you know that shit 100%, or you're gonna get called out for it.
It is true.
They're the worst with that. They don't allow any little error, even though you're going off the top of your goddamn head off of memories from 25 years ago.
I'm not getting a direct number, but yeah, it was running times were 90 minutes.
There was 90 minutes. Okay, so they went from 10 to 11:30 usually, I think.
Yeah, it was 90 minutes, and it was kind of whenever they wanted to do it.
What was interesting about them, though, is that they would usually do the sort of, I guess, biggest match. Like if it was Hogan on there, you'd see him 2/3 through, probably around the hour mark. Then after that, you'd have 1 or 2 lower mid-card matches. They kind of went down from there. So it was maybe they realized people were going to stay up to 11:30. They want to get it out of the way first.
But these are really fun.
They're great.
The last thing I would just say on this topic is, if you flip on the network and you're out of hour-long shows to watch, but you don't want to watch another 3-hour pay-per-view, these are the perfect length. They're up there, throwing on, and because of what they are, because of the nature and how they're meant to be consumed and how they're constructed, you can totally do something else while these things are on. These make great background noise if your preferred background noise is beef hitting beef.
Beefcake?
Beefcake?
Beefcake hitting the Greg the Hammer Valentine?
Yeah.
Oh, no, they're partners.
No, right, yeah.